It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down on the nightstand because you promised yourself you wouldn't check it. You feel broken. You feel like something is wrong with you. But here's the strange part. For most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night wasn't a disorder. It was Tuesday. You've been told that sleep is supposed to be one long, unbroken block. 8 hours, lights out, lights on. Anything less gets a label. Insomnia. Sleep maintenance disorder. A problem to fix with an app or a pill. But your ancestors didn't sleep that way, and their brains weren't broken either. So what were they doing at 3 a.m., and why does your body still seem to remember it? Start with the historian who found the evidence hiding in plain sight. Roger Eckerk spent years combing through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. He kept finding the same two phrases over and over, in documents centuries apart. First sleep. Second sleep. People would go to bed shortly after dark, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, then wake up. Not in a panic. Not reaching for anything. They would simply be awake. For an hour, sometimes 2, before drifting into a second sleep that carried them to morning. What did they do in that gap? They prayed. They talked quietly with a partner. They tended a low fire. Some visited neighbors. Some had sex. Physicians of the era even wrote that this waking period was the best time for conception, believing the body was calmer and more receptive after the first sleep. It wasn't treated as wasted time. It was treated as a normal room in the house of the night, one you were expected to walk through. Here's the part that should stop you. This wasn't just a European habit. It shows up in accounts from Africa, from the Mediterranean, from parts of Asia, wherever artificial light was scarce. Question: what does it mean when a problem shows up independently on every continent for thousands of years? It means it probably isn't a problem at all. Jump forward to a sleep researcher named Jerome Siegel, who wanted actual data, not just old paper. Siegel and his team traveled to 3 of the last remaining hunter-gatherer and pre-industrial societies on Earth: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, the Simane of Bolivia. People with no electricity, no glowing rectangles, no artificial reason to stay up. He strapped sleep-tracking devices to their wrists and just watched. What he found broke almost every assumption. These groups didn't sleep more than people in wealthy, electrified nations. If anything, they slept slightly less, often under 7 hours. They didn't go to bed at sunset either. They typically stayed up for hours after dark, talking around the fire, and woke before sunrise. And segmented, broken sleep, the kind that terrifies you when it happens to you, showed up in their nights too. Not every night, but often enough that nobody treated it as unusual. So if it isn't the darkness causing your eyes to snap open, and it isn't a flaw in your biology, what is it? Anthropologists have a theory, and it's not a comforting one. It's a practical one. For most of human history, sleeping through an entire night, uninterrupted, in total unconsciousness, for 8 straight hours, was dangerous. A fully unconscious human is the easiest meal on the savannah. A fully unconscious human doesn't hear the fire dying, doesn't hear a child cough wrong, doesn't hear footsteps that shouldn't be there. Some researchers, including those studying the sentinel hypothesis of group sleep, point out that scattered wakefulness across a group is actually efficient. If everyone in a small band drifts in and out of sleep at slightly different times, someone is almost always semi-alert. Nobody has to volunteer for a night watch. Biology just built the watch in. Your brain still runs this software. That 3 a.m. wake up isn't a bug. It's a feature nobody bothered to update. You just don't have anything to be alert for anymore, so it feels like malfunction instead of maintenance. Here's where it gets stranger. Charles Czeisler, a circadian rhythm researcher at Harvard, has spent decades studying what artificial light actually does to your internal clock. Before electricity, the only light strong enough to reset your body's rhythm was the sun. Now you're bathed in screens until the moment you try to fall asleep, then you expect your brain to shut off like a switch. Your ancestors' evenings faded slowly, firelight dimming to embers. Yours goes from a 1500 lumen kitchen straight to darkness in 90 seconds. No wonder the transition feels violent. You're asking a Paleolithic nervous system to obey a fluorescent schedule. Think about your own nights for a second. How many times have you woken at almost exactly the same hour, night after night, and assumed something was wrong with you? What if that hour isn't a malfunction? What if it's an appointment your body has been keeping since before your species had a name for time? There's a modern mirror here, and it's an uncomfortable one. In an experiment led by researcher Thomas Ware in the early 1990s, participants were placed in near total darkness for 14 hours a day, mimicking a pre-electric winter night with no clocks and no artificial light. Within weeks, their sleep spontaneously split. First sleep, a quiet waking period. Second sleep, the exact rhythm Eckerk had found buried in centuries-old diaries appeared again, without anyone being told to expect it. Take away the modern world for long enough, and your body remembers what to do, which raises the real question. Maybe you were never sick. Maybe you were just never given the dark. Consider what the middle-of-the-night version of you actually wants. Not screen light. Not a to-do list replaying itself on a loop. Historically, that gap was filled with quiet, low-stimulation activity. Conversation. Stillness. Something close to meditation, centuries before the word was fashionable. Your ancestors didn't fight the wakefulness. They didn't lie there furious at their own eyelids. They just used the hour for something small and calm, then let sleep come back on its own schedule. You, on the other hand, treat that hour like an emergency. You check the time. You do the math on how many hours you have left. You reach for your phone, which floods your eyes with a wavelength of light your body reads as noon. You are, in that moment, doing the one thing guaranteed to keep a Paleolithic brain awake. You are turning on the sun in the middle of the night and then wondering why sleep won't return. Here's the twist your ancestors never had to deal with. Their second sleep worked because the world around them stayed dark and quiet until morning. Yours doesn't. The moment you're awake, an entire attention economy is standing by, ready to light up your hand the instant you touch it. The wakefulness itself isn't the enemy. The response to it is .so the next time you open your eyes at 3 a.m. Here's what your ancestors would have known instinctively, and what modern sleep researchers are only now confirming with wearables and lab studies. That gap isn't broken sleep. It's original sleep. It's the pattern your species used for most of its existence, dressed up today as a disorder because it's inconvenient for a 9-to-5 world lit by electricity. Lie there. Let your mind go quiet the way theirs did around a dying fire. Don't reach for the glowing rectangle. Don't do the math on lost hours. Just exist in the dark for a while, the way humans did for 100,000 years before anyone thought that was strange. It's 3 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling. And for the first time, maybe that doesn't feel broken at all. Maybe it just feels like being human.
If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel.